I don't believe in that, by the way. That whole
It doesn't matter what you believe.
Okay, but
that's the point.
Then I can push back and say
no, I'm not looking for pushback. I'm trying to explain myself.
Okay, but you're wrong to say. Then don't say that.
No, you're getting defensive, and I'm trying to talk.
To me, I'm taking that as an insult that you say black in America. Black in America, really?
No. And I'm trying to give you an experience without being interrupted. And that's why I muted my mic.
I know, but you're insulting me at the same time.
No, I'm not insulting you.
Yeah,
you're
actually, you are.
And I'm trying to explain myself.
No, actually, you are insulting me.
No,
what you're saying that you are insulting.
And look, hey, this is what I'm talking about. This is the different kind of black.
There is no such thing as a different type of black. There's black.
I'm trying to. I think men should start getting married based on the numbers that's in their bank account. Because you got to think about all the metrics that you can and can't control, right? Mm-hmm. Like the metrics you can't control are the year that you were born, the day that you was born on, right? So like if you start basing it off of age, you see what I'm saying? Like, how do you conceptualize marriage at a particular age within a certain period of time based on what the individual is and isn't doing? You got to start working backwards. You see what I'm saying? Like if you already have a talent and you know you're going to be rich no matter how it shakes out because you're that creative and nobody can box you in, your ceiling is different. You see what I'm saying? Than somebody that says they work at a job where they make a certain dollar figure per year, right? So like if you're a librarian and you making, you know what I'm saying, let's just say for the number's sake, she's making $50,000 a year, right? And then you meet somebody that's in arts and entertainment that makes about the same thing a year, right? So if you just base that on numbers alone, the math makes sense. But the quality of life and lifestyle, the frequency, you know what I'm saying, travel, all the other variables that everybody try to paint as the elephant in the room, and then always act shocked when these things actually come to a head and to a conflict. Now you're competing in your household for whose job is more valuable than the other. You see what I'm saying? So, but all of these questions and answers that I'm providing are relative to the metrics of choosing age versus the dollar figure in your account. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's not because it takes a lot of money to do it. It takes a certain type of brain that says, I need more money, you know what I'm saying, or more resources in order to have a certain type of conversation. So I think if you just base it on solely age alone, you're going at it without all the details, without all the facts. You see what I'm saying? Because people make their assessments on whether it's in sports based on just numbers, right? And not taking into account the person's value to whatever organization that they're in. Like, you know, so because you can argue MJ's got 6 rings, which is a louder argument than Robert Ory's 7 rings because of the context. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So age is not an all-inclusive number to base any start point off of. That's what I think.
I would agree with that in the sense of this, because let's just say, let's break it down for the modern today. Okay, today, what you make is very important. It's not like before in our parents' days when, you know, sugar was 2 cents or something, right? Things changed. Let's say you find that woman that you want to marry. You have to ask yourself, are you going to be able to provide for her? Because let's face it, women have careers today. They actually think about their future, right? And they actually don't know if they're going to get wifed. They don't. If you're going to marry a woman, that's fine. Let's say you marry her young. Have you sown all your oats? Have you gotten it all out of your system? You still have to ask yourself that, right? You know, when you're younger, you think of the future. When you're older, you think of the present, right? So, and that's a fact. So if you want to get married at a certain age, first you have to ask yourself, what lifestyle do I want to provide for her? And what lifestyle do I want to be in? If you're on your purpose and you're achieving your goals, you got to go through law school. As myself, you got to develop your art. You got to build, you got to get your clientele. That's a journey, right? You don't want this holding you back from reaching your journey. Because when I was going through my journey, nothing could have said, oh, you know, slow down. Oh, you know, when are you stopping this? Oh, you know, you're always doing this. I just was on my journey, right? So that wasn't really my interest. Satisfying my needs were, but it would not take it away from my journey. So if I want to settle down, now I'm at the point where I could settle down. I don't have to save for a marriage. I just got to write a check, right? That and let's face it, marriage is really about a woman's day. It's not it has nothing really to do with us. We're just what tie are we wearing, what color we wearing, who's going to be the bridesmaid. That's all we care about. Who's the best man. We don't really have a say in the entire day, right? And that's more of a woman's thing. We're just happy to just be married and get that day over with, right? And start building our lives together. And then if you're getting married, you have to ask yourself, when do you want kids? Today, people have kids to struggle. There's no way I was going to struggle. I want a kid to enjoy a kid, not to struggle through the whole, where we're going to put him in school and can we provide for him? And no. And today we have technology. With all the technology we have, if a kid gets born into this world, that's because you want him to be there. Doesn't mean that you make a mistake. No, you made a mistake. Okay, but don't say don't say that you didn't have the preventative measures to take to not have one. So there's got to be some accountability to think about planning for a child, right? Just like when you get married, the only reason I would get married is for a child. There would be no other benefit for it. I don't need companionship. I can do that outside of marriage. I don't need a tax write-off. I could do that outside of marriage, right? Because I can host events that bring down my tax bracket and all that sort of stuff. So I don't really need a marriage unless I'm looking to provide for a family or a legacy. But to build with, I don't need her to build with. I'm doing that just fine on my own. So there has to be a reason, I think, if you're a young guy and you say, what age am I going to get married? Well, what do you want out of a marriage? If you ask me, what do you want out of marriage? Well, I want the companionship. I say, okay, but if you don't want to have a family, what's the reason for it? Is my next question. Right? Because you can get companionship in a dog.
Yeah.
So I think I can't hear you. We can't hear you. Is he talking to us?
No, I was listening.
Oh, sorry. We saw your lips moving. I thought you were saying something in counter. Okay.
I'm listening and taking it all in, and you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, no homo. I just want to say that part. But I'm just listening. You know what I'm saying? So keep going, man. Because it's an interesting dynamic. Because I want to respond, but the response I'm gonna have is probably not gonna be how it goes.
Okay, that's fine. So I lost my train of thought. So I would say you have to get married for a reason. Mm-hmm. Companionship is not a reason today. There's no reason for a companionship. You can get that as a girlfriend, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think, and he's right. I would say he's absolutely right. How much do you have in your bank account? Because the modern man today doesn't need a woman to cook and clean, right? Men do that all the time now. Actually, there are some great chefs out there. And with the social media, you can look up how to make something your own, right? More people are curious. Some people, I live a very healthy lifestyle. A woman can't cook for me if I say, this is how I like it, right? She's going to cook for her pleasure. So it's not like you're inviting a woman into your life to do things that you cannot do. You're inviting her into your life for a reason. For me, the only reason would be for a child. There would be no other reason. None.
What about somebody to spoon feed you your soup when you're 92?
Okay, do I have to be married to her?
No, if you got the money, you can hire a nurse. Yeah.
I don't have to be married to her. Mm-hmm. Right? If I want that intimacy level, companionship, closeness, trust, okay, but I don't need marriage for it. Right? The only reason I see marriage for, and especially today, would be for kids. Mm-hmm. Well, then again, with the rates that people are baby mamas today, that's out of the picture. That people are doing it anyways, right? And even in my lifestyle doesn't allow me to be with a baby mama. Mm-hmm. Doesn't allow me to be with a woman with kids, right? There's no way I would do it, but it doesn't allow me to do it. So I think at what age is not really the thing you should be asking yourself. Mm-hmm. Is what kind of lifestyle you want to provide for that person, or what's that kind of lifestyle you want for yourself before you start thinking of marriage. And then when you're in a marriage, then you have to start planning. Today is a world you have to plan. Mm-hmm. There's something called stocks, Bitcoin, all this sort of stuff now. So you have to plan. Things are not cheap. And where do you want to live? What lifestyle? Is she across the world? Are you over here? Are you prepared to move? The only thing I would ask financially is who makes more, in the sense that, do I quit my job to go across the world to work with your job? Or can I work with my abilities over to where you live? these are the more of the questions you ask, I think, more than, what age. Age is like, I mean, today, if a woman's smart, she's going to marry a guy 10 years or 15 years older than her. Why? Because he's done played out. He's done with the games. He's already settled. He's already got his finances in check. He's already, and if he's leading, you're coming into his life. Because I doubt a man's going to say, yeah, let me go over there for love. Really? Love? I mean, yeah, okay. But I can't take love to pay my mortgage.
Absolutely.
I'm just being real, like, and if I have to say I want a woman that matches my lifestyle, whew, good luck. So I don't think age is anything about what age to get married at. I think it's more of what kind of a lifestyle you want to live and what do you want out of a marriage is the question that should be asked.
I agree, because here's the thing. The thing that men have yet to do is be true to the completion of their own dream. They always force fit a woman into it. You know what I'm saying? When, like, even if you go back and watch movies from long before today, like, you'll go back and used to call those movies romantic. Like that was the category they was in. But in a lot of cases, it was just emotional stupidity. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, we laugh at the Titanic.
Okay, but let's be realistic.
No,
wait.
No, hold on, let me finish.
But frame it right, because you're talking about a certain time in life.
Well, I get it. And that's what hold up. This is about transitive property and imagery. It doesn't matter what time of life. It's just,
sure it does.
Hear what I'm saying.
Back then you married for love.
Let me make my point.
Okay.
You want to mute your mic? Because like that's why I muted mine, because I don't want to interrupt anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because so now what I'm saying is this right here. It doesn't matter when you got the message. You know what I'm saying? You got the same imagery no matter what. The woman has always been catered to as a damsel in distress. Always been communicated as, you know what I'm saying, in need of rescuing, period. You know what I'm saying? When you start unpacking it, you know what I'm saying? So like a man that's 42 years old, like myself, and like my man Garfield's almost 50, he grew up trying to fit women into his plan. You see what I'm saying? And that has never worked. Like when you go back and watch a movie from like the 90s and you see them running through the airport without no TSA, all the way up to the window, you know what I'm saying, to the counter to try to say they love them from getting off the plane. That shit is not realistic. Somebody drew up a whole fucking way that you're supposed to go through hell and high water, abuse, and disappointment and financial ruin in order to secure love. You see what I'm saying? So it's a demographic of black men, not just black men, but just men in general, who are looking at the economic return on emotional investment. So it's not just enough just to hold your wallet. We have to unpack the real metrics behind why we make the decisions that we make. Because otherwise it's just going to be seen as chauvinistic. It's going to be seen as controlling, real packaged, you know what I'm saying, dialogue that nobody takes with them to go have the conversation that they need to have with themselves that creates accountability. See, we can't make other people that's not us hold themselves accountable. We have to create a dialogue that goes into a different room that makes them say, you know what they were talking about was somewhat realistic, and we have to fix that. So really what men should be concerned with, which is why me and Garfield have talked so much, all we need to do is be concerned with how do we make other men stay focused on their purpose and not get distracted by things that are just bright, shiny objects sometimes, things that are going to come along with the journey towards success. Because when you start, you know, having conversations that bring in women as part of the topic, we're still not focused on men. You see what I'm saying? And why they should be having the conversation they should be having. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of guys are going to listen to this and they already have a woman as part of their plan. But some men that have a plan have a woman as their goal before they get to the plan. You see what I'm saying? So like anytime you introduce that other variable, it throws off the mindset that we're trying to, I guess, package and create that energy where it says, you know what, this is a protected place. I'm uncertain of things, and I feel like I can bring it up here. Versus like, I'm telling you, as a 40-some-year-old man, I don't want to hear about no man that's older than me telling me how a man should be moving. You see what I'm saying? But like what we should be learning is the mistakes from the people that's older than us. That's all I'm saying. And that way, when the viewer looks at it, they can look at somebody that they can absolutely relate to.
When you say an older person's mistakes, an older person, what did you say? An older person can't tell you what?
I'm saying it like from the space where like it has to, like, any type of correction or advice has to come from a place of a certain level of credibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of us are successful in our own way, right? You know what I'm saying? Just because we simply know each other. But sometimes when we speak from a certain spot, it's not going to be received, you know what I'm saying, a certain type of way.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? So we got to think about the end item user, about certain, based on the questions that we ask. You see what I'm saying? Like, you start off, is it age, or is it, you know what I'm saying, finances, right?
More of a place in life. Yeah.
Exactly. But see, you got to understand that people that don't know that, they've already heard that discussion very plainly, right? So we have to elaborate and unpack why, you know what I'm saying, we're saying the same things that we say, because we're not saying anything new. We just have to find a way to package the conversation where people can accept it and be real.
Right.
And so, like, there's going to be a certain demographic of men and women that's going to get this information one way or another, right? So we just have to find a way to make sure that when we speak, we're saying it from a place of love, and that folks want to hear it, take a piece of it and incorporate that in the way that they move and learn from each other, you know?
Right.
So I just wanted to say that before, you know what I'm saying, like, the conversation evolves, and we're not just talking about numbers, because it ain't about who has the most money, it just has the most resources.
No,
it's about the mix of the whole human being with the right resources and choosing the right thing. And then picking your purpose and your dream and making that priority, you know what I'm saying, will bring the right people that you're supposed to spend your time and energy with. That's what I'm saying, ultimately.
I agree with that. I would agree with that. But I would definitely hope this message would tell the young men to focus on where you want to be in life because a wife and marriage is secondary. It's not the first thing. That cannot determine your future.
It can't. It shouldn't.
It shouldn't, right? So I'm just saying, if I was telling any young man, I would say, focus on where your purpose, your goals, what kind of lifestyle you want for yourself. If you want to be a multimillionaire, find the task, find the things, find the avenue to become that. If you want to,
I was just about to ask you, what would you tell a young man that endeavors to be successful? Like, you're telling young men to go be successful, right? And how would you tell them what's the fastest path to become successful?
I would say education. I would say learn to do what you want to do. Okay,
I mean, and I'm gonna say this. That sounds good. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I mean, it sounds good, but you have to me, I feel like you have to unpack that for a lot of people that will be listening.
Help me unpackage. What would you like to know about that? How unpackage it for me? So you tell me.
Okay, so that's what I was about to say. Like, I want to unpack that part right there.
Okay.
So, like, traditionally, we'll get a message just like you're saying.
Hold on, real quick. When you say education, are we talking about, like, let's clarify, are we talking about like formal education, the university schools, or are we talking about, life education, entrepreneur, junior college, different ways like that?
I would say I would start with the educational level of going to school, learning how to speak properly, form a sentence, learning how to build a path, learning how to structure it. I mean, it's great, but it's called a business class for a reason. And there's things you can learn from that as a starting point.
Okay.
Go ahead, Garfield.
I was just saying, I was just trying to get a start point of so you could continue to elaborate on the start point as far as the education piece. He was talking about more of like a university or a collegiate.
Yeah, like an educational path to go up. That's all I'm saying. Like some form of structure, right?
Yeah. So
okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, like, you think it's the education piece, and that's fair, because education can be a very neutral way of saying it. Because, like, the reason Garfield's asking, because he's institutionally educated as well as being an entrepreneur. I'm mostly an entrepreneur. I do have some institutional education too. You know what I'm saying? But my most success has come from my entrepreneurial way of moving. So, like, education, we can just keep that neutral, because technology makes things so fluid. It doesn't matter. You have to learn something and learn how to be successful in it. So education is a neutral ground, right? So me, I would say if I had to unpack what I'm talking about, is that we have lost code.
What is that?
Like code, see, code is like this. Between men, we have this phrase, what's understood doesn't need to be said. Thank you. See, you
What?
get it. Like
what's understood doesn't need to be said.
I think more people should say what they mean, because a lot of people are misunderstanding.
but see that this is the difference. The way we interpret, the way we observe communication, and how we have an opinion about it, that is code based. You see what I'm saying? Amongst a certain class of men, there was a lot of things that was universally understood about how we carry ourselves, how we conduct ourselves, right? Now we have to go back to basics, and now we're having a conversation about how a man is supposed to conduct himself. You see what I'm saying? Somewhere in there, somebody broke code, and now we got to come back and have this conversation about how we're supposed to be moving. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Something went terribly wrong. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like men have been held in higher regard wearing suits and ties than I've ever seen before. You know what I'm saying? And then we went and we bridged the gap where we can be a casual man and not be seen as somebody that was a slouch, you know? And then now we have sustained a culture that has the bad optics that everybody else exploits about men. You see what I'm saying? Because we have done nothing to defend ourselves the way that we should have. So when we say, how do we address young men and how do they set themselves up to be the most successful version of themselves, that's a very important conversation now, because we've chased part of my generation, part of the generation before me spent decades chasing women, you know what I'm saying, to no end. And it just made a lot of Hollywood entertainment, you know what I'm saying? And none of the plans and things that we've seen shake out in our entertainment have added value to our real life. So a lot of people get their imagery and the way ahead from what's ever in their hand, you know what I'm saying, on their phone, the videos that they put out there, right? So like we're men from a certain cloth of experience that are offering real world boots on the ground understanding about how we should be moving, right? And we have to have a delicate responsibility about putting our personal spin on stuff and just things that just make economic, financial sense within the boundaries of just numbers. You see what I'm saying? So like, really, we need to be focused on, I think when we talk to men, we need to just start with metrics that make sense. Metrics that are the standard, no matter what, you know what I'm saying? Like,
give me an example of that.
Okay, so like, we are, let's, for the sake that it's Sunday and it's football, do you think that the Cleveland Browns are having the same conversation in their locker room about the postseason as the Buffalo Bills?
No.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Because the people that's not winning, they have a different conversation, a different set of goals for survival. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like if you bring a winning championship conversation to a bunch of people that's trying to figure out how to just survive, they're not going to know what to do with all that information. They know it's valuable, but they don't have a tool to apply it. You see what I'm saying? If I hand you a set of chopsticks and you ain't never used chopsticks before, even though you've seen somebody use them, that doesn't mean you know how to use them, right?
Correct.
And it's not an automatic thing that as soon as you touch them, and even though your mind can visualize it, and you can move your hands in the motion that you saw on TV, that you will be as efficient as somebody that does it with a regular repetition, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we need repetition in terms of having dialogue like this, where we unpack these simple, truncated conversations where we just say, oh yeah, just go get your education, because we've heard that. My generation heard that, and it didn't work for my people beforehand or where I'm at right now. You know what I'm saying? And when I say my people, I'm talking about the folks that's in our demographic from a socio-economic perspective. You see what I'm saying? Because we're not going to have the same conversation as billionaires. You think billionaires meeting talking about trying to build men?
No, I think
you see what I'm saying? So the dialogue is different based on the people that's in the conversation.
I think at one time they did, though.
Huh? At one time they did, but it was different. But you got to understand, billionaires came from a privileged scenario.
They don't come from a privilege. Billionaire build. Some of them are born into money. But I know billionaires that have built from selling newspapers on the side of the street. Right?
While that's cool, that's not the majority. You talking about the exception.
Ask any billionaire, they will tell you. Ask
Look,
any
you're
billionaire.
you're taking an exception and making it a
No,
standard.
no,
Most people can't ask any billionaire. It ain't that many of them.
Okay, that's a different topic. If you say you can't ask any billionaire, that's different. If you can't reach a billionaire, that's different. If you can't communicate with a billionaire, that's different. But I'm just saying, as far as a billionaire, there are billionaires that would tell you, I came from selling newspapers on the side of the street. There are billionaires that would tell you, I didn't expect to be a billionaire. I just did what I love. So it all depends on who you're talking to, right?
I don't disagree with that. But what I'm talking
Okay.
about is people that's tangible. That's like most people ain't got a billionaire friend. Most people don't have a friend that makes $100,000 a year. You see what I'm saying? So like, that's not, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you don't package the conversation in the right boundaries, you're talking to young men that's listen, young men will be listening to you, right? And hearing an older guy. This is, I'm telling you how they hear you. They see an older guy that's got himself established that's talking about it's easy to talk to a billionaire. And that's all they heard. You got to think about the sound bites that are going to come out of the extended dialogue that's going to misguide people. You
First
really
of all, I
have
would
to
tell anybody, first of all, the first thing I would tell any youth, and I would tell them, you're as good as the company you keep. So I would suggest start there, keep good company. You know right from wrong. The youth know right from wrong.
It's
You
not that
have
they
to take
don't know.
accountability.
It's not that they don't know right from wrong.
Okay,
It's
so they have
about
to take
the will to apply
accountability.
consequence.
So they have to take accountability of the company they keep.
Trust me, you and I are on the same sheet of music for the right reason. I'm trying to
Right.
help you understand how to communicate with people younger than you that
Right.
don't have your age and experience.
That's why I'm telling you how I would communicate with them, because I have communicated with them. And I'm telling you, the first thing I tell them, and I always open up my conversation with this, is you're as good as the company you keep. So keep good company. That's it. That's the basic of everything.
Oh,
For me.
we're in agreement on that. Like I said before, but when we got started, I said we're gonna have more conversation about why and how the information needs to be delivered.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like for you, from where you sit, it could be better like if you were sprinkled in, you know what I'm saying, for a principal discussion just based on seniority. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's just assume that you're the man with the most experience, the most travels and stuff like that amongst men. Let's just assume it. Let's just assume all things are true, right? Men have enough code to be like, hey, we're gonna put this guy up front when we're talking about this particular topic. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a natural assimilation to the role that you're good at, right? Which is part of what you're talking about. When you say education, I think of education should be used when it's time to enhance something that you're already good at. Because a lot of people go to college and then they don't complete anything because they get there and realize that that's not the thing they wanted to do. And then it may not be an opportunity for them after school for a job that they may get into. Now, you can't go crucify young men that decide to go to college to go try to better themselves who didn't have the same reference point to do the research that it took to choose their field. So honestly, when we go back to question number one, where Garfield started this thing is like, what should a man be focused on? And the wallet or you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, wallet of marriage, you know what I'm saying, those different metrics that go into choosing a mate that we were already discussing, right? This is why the most important thing a man should be focused on is being good at something. It's simple. Because when you're good at something, you don't let anybody interfere with that. You see what I'm saying? And other people create protection around you. Like, let's just say Antoine is really good at cycling, right? And he can't do nothing else right, but Antoine's a good person and he's a cyclist. Me and Garfield, we're going to show up for you because if you had everything else go wrong in your life and this thing right here brings you success, we're going to protect you to make sure that you realize your full potential. You see what I'm saying? Now, that's easy to bring success and help towards. You know why? Because you actually are good at something and you're worth investing in. You see what I'm saying? Because you invested in yourself. So no, education, in my point of view, isn't just the start point. That's one of the key components, but you got to know why you're pursuing a certain level of education and where you're going to go get it from. Honestly, I think the start point is you have to encourage children to become good at something with a sense of urgency, because the goal should be like, become good at something, good enough to sell it, so you don't have to work for anybody, and you could be the greatest in your own talent and give that thing that you're good at your best. You see what I'm saying? Like, you need to be like, so if you get a job, you tell a young man, get a job, hey, get a job so you can save some money to invest in the thing that you're good at, so you don't have to work for somebody else. You see what I'm saying? Like, giving men freedom to choose and having the resources to choose is what we should be giving men. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, but I'm going to just push back on that a second. I would say, and then I'm going to explain myself even clearer, because I'm saying education for the sake of how.
I'm muted. Go ahead, run it.
No, am I muted? Oh, okay. I say education for a sense of this. For me, the youth today, and now I can only speak from the youth today and what I come across, right? Because I mean, if you're asking me from a starting point, I say education for the sake of this. First of all, their vocabulary skills are horrible. They don't even know how to carry on a conversation. And education starts from how you speak, how you conduct yourself. Because I can't even take anybody serious if they don't conduct themselves in a proper manner. And when you're in school, the proper way to learn how to speak, form a sentence, lose the slang, lose the attitude, build from there is where it starts. Because you have to know how to explain what it is you're good at before you start going off and saying you're good at it. You're good at it, great, but you still got to package that to sell it. And I'm saying education in the sense of learning how to conduct oneself from the beginning. And you get that in school. You just don't scream out at the teacher. You have to actually raise your hand. You have to actually take it slow, take it back a step. I'm talking about from that point of view. I'm talking about entering a system that will say, hey, it's not you all, it's you all. It's not changing who you are, but it's saying how you can reach the masses. That's what I'm saying. And it starts from school. It doesn't start from how good you can play great basketball. That's great. But you can go the high risk of getting injured and you won't play basketball, or you can have something to fall back on. I'm just saying for the children of today, the way I see them talking, carrying on just a simple conversation. I'm like, Jesus, did you guys even know how to form? Do you even know the difference between they, there? Like, you're not. No, they have to start from a certain level to at least get that mannerism, to at least get that etiquette skill of carrying on a conversation. And and in school is where I learned to control my own emotions, anger, fighting in the playground, having an adult separate us to say, listen, no, it doesn't work that way. First of all, you guys are going to be friends before you're enemies. Can't get that outside. There has to be some form of the one thing my father always said, I don't care if you guys are going to do better than me, but you know what you're going to do better than me. You're going to make your bed before you leave the house. And no matter how late we were for school, he only did that for structure. And I get it now. Today, I can understand why he did that. But today, when I say education, I'm talking about going into a system to learn how to conduct oneself properly, to learn how to respect authority, to learn how to, it starts at home, but yes, but after you leave home, hearing it from a stranger to put you in your place, to tell you, no, you can't do that. That's for me where I'm talking from.
Dude, go ahead.
Oh, and that was the point I was trying to make. Like how old are you?
44.
You're 44. Where were you raised?
Montreal. I was born in Trinidad. I was born in Trinidad, though.
Right. So, like, here's where I'm trying to communicate the cultural barrier. You know what I'm saying? Like, outside looking in, you don't have the experience of growing up in the American public school system. Is that safe to assume?
No. Why do people think Canada is so different from America?
No, I'm
just saying, but why would you say being an American?
I can't speak from whatever. I'm asking questions to establish a baseline. That's it. Right. Okay, because like you got to understand, people don't know you. You see what I'm saying? Like, and in our culture, and when I say our culture, I can only speak for what I represent. People are gonna ask.
What are you saying you represent that I don't? I'm just asking because I think we're both black.
Yeah, but we're a different type of black in America, bro. Like it's different.
Well, you gotta unpack.
That's a completely different topic. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, I have to. If you're gonna say that, you got to at least break it down so I can understand it.
Right? Well, that's what I'm about.
Because if you're saying you're a different black than me, I'm gonna look at you.
I know. I'm about to break it down. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so what I'm saying is that I'm gonna take a long way to explain it, because like I genuinely have a goal to get you to understand how we see ourselves and how we are seen, you know what I'm saying, in regular vision. You know what I'm saying? Like your and the different type of black is different too. I'll have that conversation later, you know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you this right here. If you didn't grow up in the Jim Crow South, you don't understand the barriers that black people have with education. Okay. That's number one. So like you're gonna automatically turn off an entire demographic of people that you don't even understand, that you claim to be, you know what I'm saying? And you are. But what I'm trying to tell you is that we fight adversity on education levels in the South that you don't ever understand. You like people in the South get and that, again, I'm speaking from where I come from, you know, like we're the least educated in terms of like the academic numbers, right? But we have the most entertainment, and we the most religiously segregated, and you know what I'm saying, and proselytized against and spoken for. So it's a lot of different variables that you won't get when you make a statement like that, and it sounds so simple to you, but you don't have the culture of growing up as black in America, especially in the South.
I don't believe in that, by the way. That whole
it doesn't matter what you believe.
Okay, but that's the point. Then I can push back and say
no, I'm not looking for pushback. I'm trying to explain myself.
Okay, but you're wrong to say. Then don't say
that. No, you're getting defensive, and I'm trying to talk.
To me, I'm taking that as
you say
black in America.
No,
black in America, really?
No. And I'm trying to give you an experience without being interrupted. And that's why I muted my mic.
I know, but you're insulting me at the same time.
No, I'm not insulting you.
Yeah,
you're
actually,
defensive, and I'm trying to explain myself.
No, actually, you are insulting me.
No,
the way you're saying it, you are insulting.
And look, hey, this is what I'm talking about. This is the different kind of black.
There is no such thing as a different type of black. There's black.
I'm trying to explain myself, and you don't want to hear it.
Okay, but don't at least do me this.
Don't tell me what not to say.
At least you give me this respect.
No, at least you give me the respect to finish. I let you talk, and I'm trying to explain myself, and I'm saying I'm going to take a long way to explain it because I want us to come to an understanding. I don't expect you to agree with everything, nor do I care if you agree with what I'm saying, but I will let you talk. Just as I let you talk, I would like the opportunity to finish. That's all I'm saying. Because you can't take away my personal experience. And I'm not saying something offensive. You're choosing to connect to offense right now.
No,
and I'm trying to tell
you. Don't say
you said I said something disrespectful.
Don't say wait.
And I don't know you.
Stop. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not choosing to. I'm not choosing.
Again, see, this is the part where
because I'm not choosing. Don't use those. I'm not choosing. Hey, look,
all I want you to do is mute your mic so I can finish talking.
Yeah, but don't say I'm choosing.
No, but you keep interrupting. So
okay,
now
but don't say I'm choosing. Don't tell me what I'm choosing. Just
no, you interrupted me.
Okay.
And I was trying to talk. That's why we're here where we are. That's why I asked you to mute your mic, because I gave you the courtesy when I muted my mic from the get-go. So if you want to hear my explanation, please mute your mic.
Mic muted.
No, it's not. I'm looking at
it. Yeah, it is. Actually, I have one of these.
I can hear you.
I said I have one of these. I could just tap it.
No, I just want you to mute your mic.
Fast and tapped it fast.
No, I just want you to mute. No, I want you to mute the mic. Okay, good. So like, this is what I'm saying. The way that you deliver your message, and just like the way I deliver my message, you said that I said something disrespectful and I didn't. I'm talking very plainly. You know what I'm saying? I don't know you enough to be disrespectful, okay? So that's why I said before from the get-go, when I speak, I come from a place of love. And I said, when we reach certain points like this, I need you to understand where I started, okay? I didn't come here looking for conflict. I don't wake up in the morning saying who I'm going to get into it with. You see what I'm saying? So like, that's why I'm okay with muting my mic and letting you talk. So I'm setting that precedence right now because I want the message that I have to say to be heard just as way I heard yours. I'm a published author, written 2 books. I come from a place that's undereducated. You know what I'm saying? I recognize undereducation. I recognize the ability to understand information, write it down, regurgitate it, and that's just passing tests. Application is the actual use of the information you learn and applying it to some real world circumstance. So it's not good enough to just say, change the way you talk if you don't have something to apply the change of behavior. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't understand what I'm speaking of, and I can only speak for where I'm from. I can't speak for a person that's Black in America that lived on the West Coast, that's Black in America lived up on the East Coast. I can only talk about my personal experience from being from Birmingham, Alabama. That's all I wanted to say. So like my point being is that knowing those different education barriers, I work against those. That's why I am a published author. That's why I am speak so. That's why I speak the way that I speak and so direct. I can only represent what I understand. I cannot speak for everyone else. So again, this is one of those conversations where we're taking the different routes to the same goal. And I'm trying to tell you that, like, I understand that education is a barrier, but until you give somebody something that they're good at, that they're willing to professionalize themselves in and protect, then their language will not change as fast as you would like it for it to change. That's all I'm saying. That's why discovering something that you're good at focuses you on something, period. You know what I'm saying? Once you get focused on something, you figure out who's going to take how far your dream is meant to go. Like, and so like, which comes back to the number one thing, purpose, and versus mathematics and everything else we started with. You have to decide that, number one, do you want to be successful? And how successful do you want to be? You see what I'm saying? Once you get that group of people together, you can take them and talk to them about education and how important it is. You have to first select the group of people that you can actually demonstrate your theory on, right? Once you get that theory demonstrated, you don't shun the other people. You put them where they can see the folks that's actually getting educated. But if you go to them directly, just the way that you're saying it, with the bluntness, because you don't hear your bluntness. I'm telling you, because I come from a group of people that would hear what you're saying and they call you a coon. And it doesn't matter if they call you that, but I'm just telling you how they would perceive you. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. But if you want those people to get themselves together, you can't shame them. You have to be a source of information. If you're over a certain age, you should be obligated to teach people instead of laughing at them. You see what I'm saying? Because somebody's going to take your gestures in some type of way as offensive, because I'm not saying anything that's hurtful. I'm talking about how to help people. You see what I'm saying? And that is genuinely where I come from, because you can't have the ideas that we're discussing if we don't really mean well for folks. We can't have forums like this just to shame people that may be on a different spectrum of intelligence, because you don't know what they've been exposed to. You don't know everybody's trauma, and everybody got a story. So let's just assume that all things are true. You know what I'm saying? What's the solution? Not just education, but implementation and how to sustain it.